In this episode, Novell wins, SCO loses, Linux isn't sexy, and Google's planning on opening the VP8 video codec. QuickSurf Internet Media presents Linux News Log, separating the Linux and open source signal from the noise. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm your host Adrian, coming to you almost live from lovely Phoenix, Arizona, here in Studio C1 at QuickSurf Internet Media. Linux News Log is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Do feel free to head on over to www.techpodcast.com, and if you like any of my shows, you'll certainly find other technology-related shows over there as well. Let's go ahead and get into the stories for Season 10, Episode 10. At Ars Technica, I have a story here entitled Google Planning to Open the VP8 Video Codec. This is pretty cool. It starts off when Google announced a deal to acquire video technology company On2 last year. The move generated speculation that the search giant was aiming to liberate the VP8 codec in order to accelerate the advancement of standards-based open video. Google has remained silent about its plans for On2's intellectual property, but signs have emerged that the company is planning to do precisely what the speculators anticipated. According to a report at New TV, inside sources have confirmed that Google will be open sourcing the VP8 codec next month at the Google I/O conference. Mozilla and Google will also reportedly announce plans to implement support for VP8 in their respective browsers at that time. The move could have a profound ramifications on the viability of standards-based video playback and the future of rich media on the internet. Now, a lot of this is kind of geared towards the whole HTML5 thing. A lot of implementations of the embedded player in HTML5, the player element that's there, gears towards H.264. The problem is H.264 isn't free. And so this move, potentially by Google, we'll find out soon enough, will alleviate that problem and say, well, the free codec to use is VP8, which is commonly used in Flash video as well as several other player platforms. So it'll be interesting to see if that's made the standard for HTML5 video, and if it is, fantastic. It's not as efficient as H.264, but free is free, beggars can't be choosers. So be interesting to see what comes of this. Let's go ahead and talk about our sponsor for this episode, GoToAssist Express. I want to spend a moment telling you about a new Citrix online client that will help you save time and money and make you look like a hero to clients or colleagues. GoToAssist Express, its easy and secure remote support solution, is purpose-built for small businesses and professionals who need to support clients. One of the best things about GoToAssist Express is that you don't have to pre-install software on your customers' machines, so you can instantly start supporting them online. Plus, with GoToAssist Express unattended support, with your customer's permission, you can even support customers when they're away from their computer. I've been excited with the release of GoToAssist Express because it's easy and affordable. My listeners can try GoToAssist Express free for 30 days. For this special offer, visit gotoassist.com/techpodcast. I repeat, my listeners can try GoToAssist Express free for 30 days. For this special offer, visit gotoassist.com/techpodcast. From Tech Radar, I've found this story. It's entitled "The Trouble with Linux. It's Just Not Sexy." This is something I've been contending for quite some time. The article says there are 3 reasons why Linux isn't succeeding on the desktop, and none of them are to do with missing functionality, using the command line, or the politics of free software. Again, this is very true. The first is that there's just too much momentum behind Microsoft Windows and too many preconceptions about the alternatives. Linux is perceived as having too much of a learning curve for relatively few advantages and an unknown heritage. Yes, very true. The article goes through lots of stuff. On a recent interview that I did, the interviewer actually asked me if I thought Linux was ever going to overtake the desktop, and my response was, as long as Microsoft and Apple are around, no. It's not going to. Do I want it to? Well, yeah, it would be nice if it was at least competitive, or even had, competitive mind share or, market share, but I just don't see that happening. I mean, you had Windows XP. I'll give you an example. Windows XP. How many problems were there with Windows XP with bugs, viruses, worms, Trojan horses, you name it? If you were on the internet and had Windows XP, unless you had a really good firewall and good soft antivirus software, you were screwed. How many people switched off of Windows XP to Linux? Not enough to even make a difference. And that is what Linux is up against. So, like the article points out, it'd be great if it did, but as long as Microsoft and Apple are around, it's not going to, because it's just not attractive enough. It has to be more attractive than the alternatives before people will even consider it. So anyway, take a read on the article. Shoot me an email, linux@quickstuff.com. Tell me what you think. If you want, we can have some dialogue about it, but for the moment, I don't think it's ever going to. From Test Freaks, there's an article entitled "Open Source Songbird Drops Linux, a Sign of Things to Come." Almost everyone either knows about Linux or runs Linux. Well, not really. And most people have heard of iTunes and or other music managers. So when an open source Mozilla-based media manager player is developed, it seems like a natural fit to be on Linux. In fact, in a lot of people's views, the words open source and Linux naturally flow together. However, Songbird is now abandoning its Linux product and instead focusing on the Windows and Mac versions only. This is one example of many. There are lots of open source projects that you get on OS X and that you get on Windows, and there's no equivalent in Linux, and vice versa. There's lots of stuff in Linux that you can't get an equivalent on Windows or OS X. Songbird's reasoning behind the move is that they have limited resources and they want to focus on where the market share is, which makes sense. Linux just doesn't have the market share. Windows and OS X does. It'd be great if at some point, if they got enough money to be able to support all the platforms out there, that they could. But as it stands now, that's not the case, unfortunately. So, we'll see. Hopefully they'll get back to the Linux platform. If not, I don't think it's really going to hurt them that much. From Computer World in the blogs section, Stephen J. Von Nichols has a post. The title says it all. Novell wins, SCO loses. Now, we've been reporting on this whole SCO lawsuit thing for years. And, well, SCO lost. Hallelujah. Enough said. I'm not really going to go into it. You can read the post if you want to, but by and large, it's largely over at this point. So hopefully this will be the end of SCO suing Linux, effectively, is basically what it was. But yeah, we'll see. That'll pretty much do it for this edition of Linux News Log. As always, I thank you for watching, listening, all that good stuff. Do feel free to head on over to our website, linux.quickstuff.com. Everything we've talked about is linked up in the show notes. And as always, I've got feeds set up for all of the feeds. For those of you who have not switched over to the new feed, please do so. Visit us on the web to get the link to it. All the show notes on the most recent show have the appropriate link to subscribe to for the podcast. You can get MP3, OGG Vorbis, iPod video, and HD video with the show notes and all that good stuff. So by all means, definitely please check it out. And with that, I will see all of you on the next episode. See you then. Bye.